Hey friends, Shayla here. Let me back you up a little bit. So I am back with another video. Today is my second quarter book haul for the year of 2019. If you've been following my channel for the last little while, probably the last year or so, year and a half, I have opted to only film hauls quarterly. I have been trying to cut back on how much I'm consuming every month, but it still ends up being a lot typically. So I just save them and film these videos once a quarter rather than doing them monthly. Because I know people like to watch hauls, but they're typically not my favorite thing to watch in the whole wide world. So I just tend to film them quarterly, and they're kind of a bear to edit and such. So anyways, let's go ahead and dig right in because there are quite a few books. And I have read a good chunk of them. I've read over half from what I'm gathering here. So I'm going to talk about the books from the romance publisher that I work with, Forever Romance, first. Then I'm going to talk about my Bubbles and Books box because I do have the June box here to unbox with you guys. So we'll go ahead and do that, as well as talk about the 2 books that I've received previously because this is the 3rd month that I've gotten a Bubbles and Books box. And then we'll get into the other stuff that I paid for myself. And at the end, I have a couple of Book of the Month books. So that's how this is going to go down. This intro's been way too long. Let's just dig in. So first up, I'm going to talk about one that I'm actually currently reading, and it just came out today as the day of filming. So you can pick this one up. And that is Justified by Jay Crownover. Now, I did I got a review copy of the prequel novella for this series, which is the Loveless Texas series. And I loved and adored it. It's about 90 pages and it's really well done. And there is talk of that couple in this book, but this follows a character that I find much more interesting. I'm about halfway through the actual book right now, so I'm genuinely excited to keep going with this one. Essentially, we're following a town sheriff and the woman who represented his wife in their divorce and basically caused all sorts of problems. So this is like an enemies to lovers kind of trope. It's so well done so far. I'm really loving it. Next we have Colorado Cowboy. This is a great cowboy romance that I read earlier this spring and really enjoyed my read of this as well. It was a good time. I love that Forever continues to work with me. They're wonderful. And this one, if I remember right, yeah, this is about a barrel racer and a sheriff. There's a thing with, like, small town sheriffs. It's a trope I like. Don't ask too many questions. It's just something I like. Now, I think this one's in this haul. I don't think I hauled it in the previous one, so I'm hauling it again. And that's The Cowboy Next Door by R.C. Ryan. This is another cowboy romance. There's a lot of cowboy romance in this particular stack, guys. Sorry. But yeah, this is about Sam and Penny. Anyways, he's kind of the wild cowboy, not a sheriff cowboy, so. Anyways, it's a good time. Highly recommend. I read this during a readathon. I don't remember which one. I will leave that linked down below. Now we have Cowboy Rebel, which I read during Smutathon. Super good. I love my Longhorn Canyon series. They're just fab. Definitely read them. Next we have a non-smutty romance book, and that is The Amish Widow's Rescue by Rachel J. Good. I did read this one during Smutathon, even though I figured it wasn't super smutty, but the friends to lovers trope was strong in this one. I really liked it. Again, most of the titles from this particular publisher I tend to really like, and I do get to choose the ones that I accept it for review, so it ends up being a good working relationship for everybody. Next we have one I haven't read from them yet, and that is Barefoot Beach by Debbie Mason. I got Debbie Mason books at Christmas time, absolutely loved and adored them, so I'm really excited to get a summertime read from her. I did get an extra copy of this one, so I will be doing that in a giveaway coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And next we have A Rogue by Night by Kelly Bowen. This is a historical romance where you've got, you know, the Duke who's actually, you know, all roguish on the outside, and, you know, inside, for one girl, he's a teddy bear, and she's got crazy in trouble brothers. Like, it's fun. It's definitely fun. I like Kelly Bowen's writing a lot, so definitely check them out. Next we have one that actually ended up being a little bit of a miss for me, and that is Fame Adjacent by Sarah Skilton. I did enjoy the first portion of this because it deals with a former child actor who's in social media rehab, and I really liked that part of the story, but then it gets to a point where she leaves the rehab early, and I didn't enjoy the latter portion of this novel. But I do have to say, what I read writing-wise, I like, so I will read more Sarah Skilton in future. I just think this particular one was a miss for me. Next we have Second Chance Summer by Jill Shalvis. This is a, obviously, summertime romance, perfect for this time of year, and I just had a fab time reading Jill Shalvis. It actually led me to pick up another Jill Shalvis, which we'll see later in this haul. But yes, if I remember right, this is about a woman whose life is kind of falling apart. She goes home to her, like, small town in the mountains and ends up reconnecting with her first love, kind of a situation. It's good. It's good. Go read it. Next we have The Summer House by Jenny Hale. This is a really sweet romance where we're dealing with someone who purchases a B&B with her friend to kind of start over and reset, and she falls for the small town hunk, and it's a good time. Next we have one that I haven't read yet, I've been meaning to, and that is Tailspin by Sandra Brown. This is more of the action suspense kind of story, so I'm really looking forward to digging into this one eventually, because it does look really interesting. It's got some military aspects to it. I think it'll be a good time. It says thriller writing on the front, and I did try a thriller within the last quarter, and it went pretty okay, so I'm interested to try this one out as well. And last but not least was the biggest surprise from this particular round from the publisher, and that is For His Pleasure by Shelley Bell. I read this during Smuttathon. This is a BDSM style romance. It was good. I really liked how the author built the anticipation with you, so you could understand how your characters were feeling in their smexy moments, and the dynamic is a female parole officer and her male parolee. It's really interesting. Definitely give this one a read. There's a lot more to it, but I don't want to spoil things for you. I didn't know too much going into this, and I'm really glad for that, so definitely give this one a try, guys. I'm planning on going back and reading the first 2 books in this series, because this is technically book 3, but man, this was intense. Definitely not going to be for everybody, but I might have a new thing I'm into for a minute. Alright, so that is it from everything that I received from my friends at Forever Romance. Thank you guys again, especially Estelle, who I work with directly. You guys are wonderful to continue to work with me, and I thank you oh so very much. I know how blessed I am to be able to receive as much as I do from them. So now let's go to the Bubbles and Books box. Books. So we'll do the first 2 that I've received, and because I've read one and not the other, and then get into this month's box real quick. So the first one, which I have not read, is Circle of the Moon by Faith Hunter. This is actually book 4 in a series. So what I want to do is read book 1 first, so I get kind of a grasp of the world a little bit, which I do have on Audible. I will be listening to within the next week or so, and then get into Circle of the Moon. Because I know really most of these are pretty episodic when it comes to paranormal romance, but I would like to get like that initial introduction to the world. It tends to go better for me when I do that. So I wanted to do that so I can give this a fair chance. And the next one is one that I just kind of chose to drop into, and that is Legendary Wolf and Legendary Beast, both by Barbara J. Hancock. This is from the Harlequin Nocturne imprint, which is their paranormal one. I liked both of these. They relatively got 3 and 3.5 stars, and I read them during Smuttathon. It was a good time. The smexy scenes were lovely. I quite enjoyed those. And they're both kind of enemies to lovers, past history kind of situations. And it just played with a bunch of tropes that I really like. So I had a good time, and I look forward to seeing what else I get from these guys. Alright, so let's quickly do our June unboxing. Since I'm here with a bunch of books anyway, let's just do it all at once. I already cut this at work, but I didn't peek. It's a sweet treats box. Ooh. Probably means everything's gonna smell like divine. First up, we've got chocolate covered cherries incense. with activated charcoal. I'm not really a big incense user, but I have some friends who are, so I will most likely pass this on to them. And then we've got our bath bomb that looks like an ice cream cone. It smells really good. It's really cute. Look how cute that is. It's all shiny. It looks more purpley than it's coming across on camera. So there's a lighter pink on the side and then purple and then the cone. It's kind of crumbling a little bit. Sometimes in transit these don't do so well. Let me see here. Strawberry ice cream cone bath bomb. So it's got a strawberry smell to it. That's the fruit I was picking up on. And it looks like a little donut. Oh my gosh, you are so cute. Chocolate sprinkle soap donut. That's a cute little soap if I ever saw one. Ooh, scrub of some sort. You look lovely. What are you? Are you the foot soak? Lemon meringue pie pedicure foot soak? There's not a label on you, so I'm assuming this is the foot soak from the look of it. Let me smell it. Because it doesn't look like... Oh yeah, that's definitely lemon meringue. So this is the foot soak. Ooh, that'll be nice. And then buttercream icing bubble bath. Oh, that's going to be so lovely. I love like fruity, pastry kind of smelling stuff in my bath. So I'm looking forward to that. And then all that's left is the book. Ooh. More Harlequin Nocturne, which makes me happy, and it's another 2-in-1, so that's a great value. So this is Visionary Wolf and Visionary Wolf and Code Wolf by Linda O. Johnston and Linda Thomas Sundstrom. So Visionary Wolf is Lieutenant Liam Corland is the newest member of an elite military unit for shapeshifters, a tech expert. His task is to counter reports of Alpha Force's existence spreading online. When the rumors take a dark turn, his mission grows more urgent. His greatest ally is Dr. Rosa Jante? I don't know how you say that last name. The woman who's seen him at his most vulnerable. The woman who knows he can never have, but can't possibly live without. Oh, meant to be apart kind of stuff. I dig that kind of stuff. I'm weird that way, I guess. And then Code Wolf is when Seattle detective and alpha werewolf Derek Miller meets Riley Price, the bond is instant. Feral. Their connection entails enormous risk, for he must keep the existence of his kind secret at all costs. For the forces of darkness have Riley in their sights. Now Derek must choose between the wear code of silence and saving the woman who set him on fire. Ooh, this is gonna be fun! I'll probably dig into this in July, maybe during the reading rush, aka Booktubeathon. I don't know, because these fly. Like, I flew through the other bind up really quick, so I think I'll do the same with this. But that June box is going to be great. I'm definitely going to test out the stuff in the bath. I might take one tonight. We'll see. I'm kind of haggard, so maybe it'll be a shower. Who knows? All right, let's dig into the rest of this haul. So it's already a super long haul. Sorry, guys. So I've got a stack of paperbacks and then my stack of hardbacks. That's how I'm going to do this. So the hardbacks, the Book of the Month ones will be at the end, if I didn't mention that before. So real quick, I picked up The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I've been meaning to pick this up forever. Finally found a copy that was a price I was willing to pay. I don't care if it's a mass market. Those don't bother me. So The Wedding Date is definitely going to be read. Everybody on BookTube has already read this. I'm way behind on this one, but it sounds really cute and I'm looking forward to it. Next we have A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole. This was a great, fun, smexy time. Alyssa Cole writes great romances. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think this one's my favorite out of all of the Reluctant Royals. I just really got along with this pair and connected with them more than the other two. Well, the other, 4 couples. This is the one I connected with the most. So I highly recommend picking up the whole series, but this was my particular favorite. The others I picked up digitally, by the way. I don't remember if I hauled this already, so I'm going to haul it again. And that's A Rogue Not Taken, Scandal and Scoundrel Book 1 by Sarah MacLean. This is a historical romance author that I've really been getting along with and really enjoying her works. So I've slowly been working through her backlog. It's been a fun time. And yes, this is about Sophie and King, and I really, really liked this one. It was a good time, so highly recommend. Next we have Cowboy Bold, which is a Carolyn Brown Longhorn Canyon book. This is the first in the series, and I jumped in review-wise at book 2. So I've read books 2, 3, and 4 in the series so far, but I hadn't read book 1. So I did go back and read this. I really liked getting their stories, so I highly recommend reading them in publication order because then you'll fully understand the whole story in all of it. Next, we have one of my favorites that I've read recently, and that is Hurts to Love You by Alisha Rai. I have officially become an Alisha Rai fan with this series. I need to go back and read book 2 because my bookstore didn't have it, and I picked up this one thinking it was book 2, but I was wrong. But I have no regrets because this was amazing, and I will never think about apples again the same way. If you've read the book, you probably understand. So that's all I'm going to say. It's a good time. Go read it and enjoy. Next is one that I actually just picked up today when I went to the bookstore, and that is Getting Hot with the Scot. This is by Melanie Johnson. My friend on Instagram kept posting about this, and it kept looking entirely adorable. So I picked this up. I think it's going to be a good time. It could potentially work for prompts within the reading rush, but I'm going to try to do stuff that's older on my shelf first, but if none of those fit, then this can be a double whammy for a couple different ones. Next is Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. I loved this book a lot more than most people, but I went into it knowing that it was going to be a harder hitting story than this cover leads to believe, and I really enjoyed this. This deals with law a lot, and having worked in a lawyer's office for almost a year, I tend to like those kind of stories more than I ever thought I would, so I highly recommend Meet Cute. It's not going to be for everybody for sure, but I really enjoyed it. If you hear a little buzzing, I have a snoring cat in his cat tree over here. So if you hear little buzzes, that's what that is. It's not my phone because he's just up there and adorable and I don't want to wake him up. So anyway, going back into the books. Now we have The Lemon Sisters by Jill Shalvis. I picked this up after reading Second Chance Summer and really liking her writing style. So this one just looks like a cute, beachy read. It might be deeper than that. I haven't looked too deeply into it, but I trust Jill Shalvis's storytelling capabilities to just jump into this one. Next we have The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. I talked about this a lot in my previous wrap-up. I really enjoyed it, so I will leave that linked for you so you can check that out. Next we have another new favorite romance, and that is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is making waves all through booktube. I know I'm not the only one talking about this. It's really good. It's really smexy. It's kind of got this Big Brother's best friend trope going on in it, and it was just my jam. I really, really liked this. I kind of want to reread it already. I enjoyed it that much, so there you go. Next, we have another one I haven't gotten to yet, and that is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. I know this deals with some infertility rep, and so I'm really interested to see how this goes, and I hope I enjoy it. I've heard some people not enjoying this as much, so I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, and I think it'll be a fun journey. Next is Natalie Tan's Book of Love and Fortune by Roselle Lim. I know this is kind of a foodie book that takes place in San Francisco. Outside of that, I don't know too much, and I just think it's going to be fun. I'm not expecting it to be this big romance thing. I think it's going to be definitely more like family-oriented from the little bit I've heard and gathered, so I'm not expecting a big romance thing. I'm expecting it to be kind of a family-style story. And last, for the paperback stack, we have Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Rowanhorse. I really enjoyed Trail of Lightning, which is the first book in this series that deals with a lot of Native American rep. This is all about their culture and their folklore. It's a really interesting series. It's definitely urban fantasy as well, so I recommend giving it a try if it sounds interesting to you, but I'm really excited to get into this second book. Alright, the stack's a little wobbly over there, so I'm not going to move the whole stack, but I'll just lean in and out instead. So the first on this stack is The Sword and the Dagger by Robert Cochran. I got almost 100 pages into this, and it wasn't agreeing with me at the time. I do plan on getting back to this sometime this summer to see if I still feel the same, or if I want to just DNF it for good and donate it or sell it or whatever. But this, it deals with it has some toxic masculinity tropes in it, so I'm not sure how I feel yet, but I promise to let you guys know what I officially decide when it comes to The Sword and the Dagger. Next we have one that I am currently reading as well. I've got 2 books I'm in the middle of. I do this all the time to myself. But that is Sherwood by Megan Spooner. This is the Tell It Again book club pick for the month of June, so I have till Sunday to get this read. I'm not sure when you'll see this, but right now it's Tuesday, and I've read like 130-ish pages. Yeah. so far. This is not exactly a Robin Hood retelling. This is what would have happened if Robin had died and Maid Marian took over, essentially. So it's a little different than I thought it was going to be, but I'm working with it. I'll see how I feel by the end. Right now, it feels a lot like the BBC Robin Hood to me. Like, there's just certain parts of it. Like, there is a Sir Guy of Gisborne, and I can't see anybody but Richard Armitage when I read it, so. Next, we have Emily Eternal by M.G. Wheaton. I believe this is a sci-fi, if I remember right. Yeah, we're dealing with MIT and stuff. And I got this on the recommendation of Thomas over at SFF 180. I have not had a chance to get to this one yet, so I don't want to read too much of the description because I'm afraid of spoilers, but I know it sounded fantastic and I'm really looking forward to getting into it, hopefully soon. Next we have Loved from A to Z by S.K. Ali. This is a cute contemporary romance. Again, I love S.K. Ali's writing, and I really loved Saints and Misfits, but I've heard this is lighter and sweeter than that, so I'm really excited to dig into this one this summer for sure. Next, we have Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu. I believe we're dealing with a K-pop idol on this one, but I really like the song Somewhere Only We Know, and that's the biggest reason why I picked up this book. I know that sounds super funky, but I really hope to enjoy this one. Sometimes I like when the celebrity tries to go undercover and have a normal life for a minute kind of thing. Thank you, Roman Holiday, for that. And I think this is going to be along those lines, and that rainbow spine's just adorable. But anyways, I am looking forward to this one. Next we have A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World by C.A. Fletcher. This is a dystopic style novel, and I know I'm going to probably cry because these kinds of books usually lead to the animal dying or almost dying at some point, and I know I'm going to lose it when that happens. So I have not picked this one up yet. When I'm in a happy-go-lucky mood, I'll pick it up, but if I'm down in the dumps, I'm definitely not going to. So I'm hoping to pick this one up soon. Again, there's a prompt for the Reading Rush about a long title, so there's a good chance that I will be picking this one for that prompt. Next, we have The Tiger at Midnight by Swati Teerdala. I believe this is her debut, or their debut. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, but this is definitely dealing with folklores. It's Asian. I forget which country, so I'm not going to specify just because I don't want to specify the wrong one. Let's see, does it say here? Indian and Hindu mythology is what it's pulling from. So there we go. It looks really good. This is a YA fantasy, and I think it's going to be a good time. The type is nice and big, so again, this is one I might pick for an upcoming readathon or just if I'm in the mood for it. I've been in kind of a contemporary mood lately, so I haven't been reading many of my fantasies, and that's most of my hardbacks right now. So, yeah, because I'm looking at the stack of read and unread, and I'm like, all my contemporary romances are hanging out over here, and all my fantasies are hanging out in the need to go back on my TBR shelf pile. Alright, next we have The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. This is a magical forest meets Riverdale meets witchcraft kind of story from what I'm told. I think I'm going to hang on to this one and read that in the fall because I think it's just going to be a better fall atmospheric kind of read. So I don't think I'll be reading it this summer, but I will be reading it in the right mood. Next we have If I'm Being Honest by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca. This is a play on Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare. It's a modern contemporary style story set in LA. I think it was really well done. I really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Highly recommend checking it out. Taming of the Shrew is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays, so I put it probably to a higher standard than most people would, but I did genuinely enjoy it, and the sibling dynamics were fantastic, so definitely check it out. Next we have one that I picked up at my used bookstore, and that is The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. Occasionally I get in a mood where I want to read Nicholas Sparks, so I like having one around that I haven't read. And this is one that has intrigued me for a while anyway, because you know I'm on a cowboy romance kick, so there's a good chance I'll be reading this sooner rather than later. Next we have Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is a YA fantasy that deals with a magical library. My friends who have read it have really enjoyed it, so I am looking forward to this one. I just have not gotten to it yet. As I said, I'm just not in the mood to read fantasy at the moment, but I think it's going to be a good time. I'm hoping to get to this in July or maybe August. Next, which is the last one before the Book of the Month books, is The Evil Queen by Gina Showalter. I like Gina Showalter. I like retellings. This just screams, read me, Shayla! So This is an Evil Queen retelling written by the lovely Gina Showalter. This is her next YA project. She's the one who wrote Alice in Wonderland Zombies with Zombies. I don't know how that title goes exactly. But anyways, she wrote that one as well as the Lords of the Underworld Smutty Romance Paranormal series, which I'm absolutely addicted to, and I just keep waiting for the next book, and I'm hoping it comes soon. But anyways, I really like her writing, so I wanted to check out this brand of her YA. Alright, so the 2 Book of the Month books that I picked up in the month of May were Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. I know this has been, or Joan Hay, I'm not sure how you say that. This has been a really popular YA fantasy that has some Asian rep. I forget again which country. There's so many different Asian countries that I'm always afraid of saying the wrong one. Maybe it's Chinese? I don't remember. So don't at me for it. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really bad at remembering where some of these originate from. But I know this has been very well received, and I really wanted to give it a read and support the author, so here we are. Next we have There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon, or Menon, I'm not sure how you say her name, but this has got plus size rep in it, as well as different cultures. This screams read me, Shayla, and I'm hoping to read it here in the next couple days. I want to finish up my current reads, and then I want to dig into this, because I'm really wanting to read this like sooner rather than later, so. This is next on my list, so it will be getting read soon, so I can talk to you guys about it. And then my picks for June, the first one is Storm and Fury by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is Jennifer L. Armentrout's new fantasy book, and I think it's going to be a good time. I've not read any of Jennifer L. Armentrout. This will be my first, so I can kind of get a feel for her writing and then see if I would want to dig into her backlog or not. But it just looked like a good time. And then, last but not least for this haul, is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I probably butchered that name, and I am very, very sorry. Again, this is another one of those fantasies that's a play on, I believe, different mythologies. Maybe it's their own created one. I don't remember, but I remember a lot of people were reading this during the Asian readathon. So, or did it come out after that? I don't remember. But I just remember the people who have read it have loved it. It sounded up my alley initially. And I kind of like that I've forgotten the description so I can go in and it's a fresh new start. So, anyways, that's what's going on. I'm really excited to dig in soon. So as you guys can see, I clearly need to be reading more fantasy because I've read all my contemporaries. Oh, it's a mood, guys. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for that. But anyhow, that is it for the second quarter of 2019's book haul. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you've read any of these or if you're excited for me to read any of these, let me know in the comments down below and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.